I think you're just mad 'cause you're single. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Homestuck. Homestuck 2 / Homestuck yes / just yes. Today is March 12th, and we've got Chapter 6 out today. Apparently, according to Twitter, it's Aisha's birthday, so of course she got us something special. What seems to be the first sound page of Homestuck 2. It's like right up there near the end. We got a lot going on. I saw images already. It looks like we're hanging out with possessed Jade, and I think she's having a conversation with herself. Because Jade Harley is still present and active, but... No, she's still present, but not active. That is Calliope. Calliope's the one that's texting all the red, and they're gonna have a little discussion. And it's gonna be interesting. Okay. But yeah, this should be interesting. I hope to get this episode out by tonight, but I'm not sure how quickly this whole entire episode's gonna go, because I was at work. Chapter 6, a conversation regarding relevance. Boop. Oh gosh. Thank you for putting the content warnings in a box. So I don't have to frickin' read them. Thank you. And so YouTube doesn't see them and freak the heck out prematurely. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Anyway. Space is vast, an unproductive statement, almost a tautology, and although tautologies can be worthy thought exercises, they become virtually meaningless when it comes down to the actual transmission of information. I believe it is for that reason most beings don't use them in day-to-day parlance. The lives of many are far too volatile and instinct-driven to want to waste time with saying that which is already true. Tautologies are, in general, reserved for stories, for narrative device, for finding new and inventive ways to tell an audience that which they already know, and, at the end of the day, are not all diffusions of knowledge at least somewhat tautologist in nature? In order to recognize the value of my words, you must first know what they mean. You must predict my intentions. But I digress. Arguments with my brother would often dissolve into such nonsense, the shouting of truths back at each other, neither of us able to convince the other of the righteousness of our stance. We were never meant to agree. It isn't in our blood. We talked about politics way too much. Anyway, space is vast. Everyone knows it, but most sentient beings in their many universes never have any way or reason to experience it firsthand. Even in societies advanced enough for spaceflight, most people will have never leave their atmosphere. When they scoff at my tautology, space is vast, what do they really know? Nothing. As far as any of them have experienced, space does not exist. Calliope, please stop talking so much. Very few have stood to look into the abyss, the true gulf of nothingness that spreads out around a single point of consciousness adrift in a constellation. All the combined weight of that sentient endeavor would quail underneath that sheer, irresistible truth, the realization that they are so small that the universe cares about their puny lives so very little. Sitting in the glowing light of the stars, this becomes even more apparent. Are we out of orange juice? She's just standing in front of the... Oh, great. She just had a fridge moment. Yeah! Fridge! Yeah! Do they know I exist? Please. The day that Homestuck creators care about my existence is the day we are all truly screwed as a fandom. Anyway. Are you talking to me? Because if you are, I would like to remind you that I hate orange juice. She hates pears. Do not let her eat pears. No, you don't. Well, I guess I never really had a strong opinion on it before, but now I can't stand it. It's all you drink. Why does Calliope only drink orange juice? I like the pulp. Ugh. pulpy orange juice. I'm sorry if you guys do like the pulp. I'm one of the non-pulp drinkers. There has to be both types of people in the world to exist. The pulps and the non-pulps. Anyway, it's my body and I don't want orange juice. I hate pulp and I didn't just make that up to spite you. Who wants strings in their juice? Thank you. I do. I realize that Jade's situation is less than ideal from a characterization perspective, but I still politely point out that nobody likes a whiner. Screw you, rude Calliope inside my head. From a characterization standpoint, I think you're pandectic, annoying, and just a general huge drag to be around. Why don't you just try being possessed by the spirit of some other version of a good friend of yours, and floated around in a spaceship full of people you love, unable to affect anything or say hello to anyone? Then tell me about whiners. Okay, so Jade can only interact with Calliope. So she's been interacting with Calliope only for 3 years. Goodness. I killed my brother and consumed him. Sounds like a you problem. I suggest to the witch that I have spent untold eons in the void between universes, waiting for the moment I would be needed to prevent the dissipation of reality as we know it. Her appeals to emotion will not help her. I will remain unmoved. Well, I had to watch my boyfriend and my brother die in front of me on a tiny scale version of a world that I shrunk for them. Yeah, Dave Sprite. Okay. And then I spent the next 3 years talking to myself, racked with guilt, that I killed them. Yep. I keep forgetting that that's this version, Jade, not the other version. I miss the other version of Jade, the one that got taken over Big Bad Wolfified. Anyway, oh gosh, she's getting the Sunny Delight. It looks like Sunny Delight. Am I wrong? Anyway, I imagine the witch that my time was in the void, which is far darker and lonelier than a ship full of lizards. I add that it was also eons, a length of time that is, traditionally, far longer than 3 years. I ask her to excuse my pettiness for pointing it out. You're a member of a species designed for long periods of isolation. I'm a human, or at least I started out that way. Even if I had the powers of a first guardian, my brain still worked in modules of human pattern recognition. 3 years is a long time for a human teenager. I don't care how many of her molecules are made of a god. I point out that this back and forth is becoming childish, and oh my gosh, stop narrating, who are you even talking to? The audience, of course. Audience? Ugh, this is so annoying. I can't tell if you're being serious. Your voice is impossible to read and I can't see your face. Oh, here we go. Well, now we can see it. Oh, yay, we get a little maid. We get a little sprite for the Muse class. Ah, it's so cute. Look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. Okay, I'm calming the heck down. Moving on. We get to see Jade, and it's cute. And she gets, it's eyeliner, yay! Nice. Oh, well, thanks. That's better. Of course. Placing the Sunny D down. You're right. I thought I'm being silly, and I didn't mean to start a slap fight over who has suffered more. Clearly, you've been through a lot more than I could ever possibly imagine. You're the same Callie who talked to me and Jane when we were unconscious back in the game, right? There's just a lot of everybody running around, and I guess I haven't been keeping the internal tally that I should have. Yes, that's correct. But I think it's a very natural thing to be silly when you're used to being able to control your own body, but now can't. I will allow that, yes. So, I'll stop yelling at you, but I reserve the right to start yelling again in the future if I have a good reason. Okay? That seems fair. Jade looks at me with the face I have looked at in the mirror for the last few months on board this vessel without a name. No one can decide what it should be called, possibly due to the comical nature of its construction. For a while, there was an ongoing list of ideas hanging in the common room, but it quickly devolved into a cluster of more and more obscure memes, until one day the night tore it down in a fit of pique. Don't ask me to tell you which night, you know which one. Carcat! Anyway. Jade smiles. Dave and Carcat will always be a source of pain for her, a low ache somewhere in the center of gravity, but she's happy for them. She knows that there is really no other alternative for how to be. They chose each other over her, and they always will. They are the two people who matter to her most in every universe, and that will not change, no matter how much she wishes it would, no matter how... Don't make it hurt any more than it has to be. My poor Dave Jade heart is breaking even more and more and more. Do you actually know that? Pardon me? Do you actually know that I'm doomed to pine over Dave and Carcat across every iteration of reality? Like, can you actually see that? Because you're a space player like I am. I know that you're more powerful than me, but I don't think you can see other timelines any better than I can. So I think you're just being dramatic for the audience. Whatever the heck that means. I hope she's being dramatic. I want Dave Jade so bad. I don't... why do they always kill the straight ships? Anyway. I experience a moment of unease as Jade looks at me. Keeping her out of my thoughts is proving to be more difficult than I had first assumed it would be. I had begun confident that I could keep her consciousness sleeping peacefully inside the shell of her body. Tamed. Quiescent. But is that how it's pronounced, quiescent? But she has proved to be more irascible than I initially gave her credit for. I've been particularly tameable. No, I have never been particularly tameable, and my consciousness is huge. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No. You stop this right now. You stop this right now, right this second. Even Calliope is very like, no, I don't want this. Jade ceases to be horny right now. You're a pretty tough crowd, evil. Okay, so she was joking. Okay. You're a pretty tough crowd, evil Callie, but yes, I hear most of what you're thinking to yourself. It took a little while to separate it from my own thoughts, just like you did with Dirk, because that's what he was doing the whole time, wasn't it? Controlling our thoughts? Making us believe things we would never... making us believe things we never would. Things he thought we should believe? And here we are. I've been wondering when we should get to the prince and Jade's knowledge of the chaos he has wrought within the timeline, and who knows how many others. Jake will never be the same. I assume she realizes exactly how many resources the prince put in to keep her still and asleep, firmly out of the game, so as to prevent granting me access to the universe, in order to foil his campaign of endless hubris. Wow. So Dirk did stuff to, like, keep Jade back? Man. Jade knows all this. I don't have to tell her. She's a very bright girl, and even if she didn't have partial access to my thoughts, she is good at compiling data and using it to fill in gaps. As she herself had rather licentiously mentioned, her brain is quite large. And all of these reasons are why I know I can count on her to be reasonable and realistic about her situation. I need a body to continue interfacing with this timeline, and her body is the only one that'll do. I hear her wonder, but what about Kanaya? What about Kanaya? Hey! The fact remains. Calliope is a being that is literally like... Oh gosh, why is it's on the tip of my tongue. I hate that I don't remember the phrase for it, and it's going to drive me insane. I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to be like, that's the one. Intersex. Calliope is an intersex being. You're an intersex being. You have to commune with each other, apparently. It's ridiculous. What about her, Jade? She is a splace sayer. She is a space player, it is true, but her powers are nothing compared to you or yours. For one, she isn't god tier. Two, she is dead. A living dead. Oh, Kanai is also dead. Okay. But dead nonetheless, and a sylph's speculations lie on a different end of the spectrum from my own, a witch is far a closer match. No, Jade understands and sympathizes with my assurance that her body and her body alone will do for my purposes. So did we just get confirmation that witch is a passive class? I don't know if that ever got covered. I can't recall. I should recall, but I can't. But you didn't. Anyway. No I don't. She does. After all, she would not wish this sort of state of being on anyone else, especially not on one of her friends. Guilt trip Calliope. Jade may have undergone a lopsided number of narrative hardships in her life, but at least she is used to them. Why spread that suffering to another? Jade understands and accepts her place in the story, which has always been to enable events to play out around her, just as it has been in mine. Jade doesn't seem to be taking this well. Because what is a story, truly? Nothing but a series of misadventures. Should I get the Castlevania voice? What is a story? Truly nothing but a series of misadventures and connections. Actions spurring reactions, tumbling into one another over and over and over. With so many competing interests, clearly the story cannot account for all perspectives, for all threads. It would be laughable, childish, even selfish to demand that they do. Are you talking about, you're talking about how we can't just have, all these characters have points of views and, deep character analysis all the time? It'd be exhausting, and people would complain about it, like they did with Pfeffery. Moving on. In other words, not everyone will achieve a happy ending. This is a truth that Jade had come to grips with a long time ago. Wait, stop! Why are you saying all this? Jade's body is my vessel, and it is through this realization that she will understand her true role in her story, her true relevance. If I released my hold on her consciousness, there would be no guarantee that I would be allowed in again. Therefore, I cannot permit her to control herself so that she so desperately craves. She understands that. Wait, so you could give me my body back and then just hop back in when you need to? In theory, yes. Then what the hell, Callie? Because I don't trust you to cooperate when the time comes. Why not? I thought you said I was a reasonable girl with a huge brain. You are, to an extent. She is, but the truth of the matter remains that humans are capricious and emotional, and even Jade herself can admit that she hasn't been the most committed example of her species in the last few years. Ooh, you talking to you slut shaming Jade? What is that supposed to mean? Moving from lover to lover, job to job, interest to interest over the last few years, Jade had found herself listless, unable to settle, and unwilling to commit to anything or anyone. She knows there's nothing wrong with that on a moral level, but on a personal level she's always believed that she could be more, could be better, and now because of this she realizes that sacrifices must be made, and that she, as a space player, is uniquely built for sacrifice. Yeah, I guess you're right. I have been such a silly little slut. Hey, Callie? Yes, Jade? Oh my gosh, what's that? She points off in the darkness. It's nothing, of course. There's nothing here beside the two of us. The space is utterly under my control. Jade could control it too, if she had any access to her own powers. But my grip around her cortex, there's no chance of that. I know there's nothing behind me. She's being silly. But I'm not Dirk Strider. I don't mind indulging the whims of silly girls, if it makes them feel better about their situations. There's nothing wrong with humoring. She's gonna smack you upside the head. Yep, there she goes. She gon' break your face. Death. I like that Calliope's shadow was red. Anyway. Beat her upside the head. And there I make my first mistake. Up until this point, I have counted on my superior narrative power and class strength to keep her under control, but bringing her into a place where we can both physically manifest has left me foolishly vulnerable. When you're dealing with an epically powerful space player and former borderline omnipotent being, you forget that even with her powers stripped, she's still quite a formidable physical force. A young woman in the prime of her life with a canine's instinct and a fierce desire to sink her teeth into something she can tear apart. And right now, that something happens to be me. Her fingers tear at my throat, trying to find purchase. She won't be able to kill me here, but it is certainly unpleasant, not to mention slightly repetitive. We just saw this in a previous chapter, although this particular fight will not end as amorously as the last one did, so don't get your hopes up. Who are you talking to? Okay, cue Benny Hill music. Okay. Please tell me Karkat just wanders and he's like, nope. Okay. We got a bowl full of... What is it? During the ship's trip through space, there have been numerous experiments, modifications to the nutrition output of various machines designed to create sustenance for the various species on board. I myself have been content with orange juice and synthetic proteins, but Dave and Roxy have both expressed longing for various Earth snacks, so the trial and errors began. Take the candy. Suicide threat. Oh, it's chocolate. Jade, no! I was just thinking about this. Would Jade go to a doctor's office or a vet's? The results were mixed. As Roxy told us in a previous chapter, alchematized food of all sorts tastes the same, although the visuals really help you bring about the flavor. At the end of the day, isn't it the journey that is more important than the destination? The stories you tell as you create the strangely flavored nutritional paste? So far, everyone's favorite attempt has been vaguely peanut butter and chocolate-flavored creation called Reese's. Nobody eats them, really. They just sit in a bowl on the counter. I'm not really sure what the witch is trying to accomplish here. You don't? Really? I know what she's trying to accomplish, because surely she would not be doing what it appears she is trying to do, making such a meaningless threat. Meaningless? Do you even know anything about the body you stole? Shouldn't you have run some sort of psychic physical before you possessed it? It's definitely what I would have done. Suspicious glance. Jade must know that I am very well aware of her family-wide peanut allergy. Oh, so Jade is allergic to peanuts. Okay. Is Jane? No, Jane's not allergic to peanuts. She couldn't be, unless she only makes Betty Crocker creations that have no peanut butter in it. Anyway, a story thread that has been extremely important and weighed in on multiple parts of the narrative. How could I have forgotten such a key detail? But of course Jade knows that. She's just being silly and dramatic. She knows that an unalive threat is utterly meaningless when made by a god. There is nothing remotely just or heroic about dying from self-imposed anaphylactic shock in the throes of a childish tantrum. At the most, I'll get a relaxing few minutes of sleep. Do you really want to risk it? For a biscuit? No, just kidding. What are you talking about, Jade? I just said, I don't know, Callie. I've never really understood the rules that govern the death of a god tier, have you? It seems pretty arbitrary from where I'm standing. Who makes the decision whether or not something is heroic or just? That's unclear, but it certainly isn't you. Right, of course not. But you're so confident you're a good guy. Are you sure that Alpha Timeline wants you to be here? What? You've done some stuff, Callie. I'm only saying you shouldn't be so quick to assume that me killing you wouldn't be just, and that taking my own life wouldn't be heroic. It's the sound page. Please don't take up the entire screen. Amen. Click. Ooh, it's a flash page. Okay. Here we go. And play. Is a tick-tocking clock. Is that all that it is? Is that all that it is a ticking, talking, and black void? I'm gonna sit here a little longer and see. I don't know, man. Nothing seems to be changing. Is that it? Can I go to the next page without it doing something weird? I'm like half reaching for the mouse, half pulling away. Should I check on my Animal Crossing Pocket Camp while this goes on? Okay. No, it's just a tick-tock. Okay, I'm just gonna click, click. Oh, it's the god tier. It's her literal god tier clock is just chilling out inside her head. Oh my gosh, and it's green. Like, oh, it's got the cue ball too. Oh my gosh. Wait, is this Calliope? No, wait, but Calliope's dead. Calliope's dead. This can't be her clock. Is it Jade's clock? Are they sharing a clock? I think they're sharing a clock. Or, I don't know. I don't let the witch manipulate me. I refuse to falter in the face of her whispers. Without my careful planning and swift action, the prince would have taken full control over this timeline. None of my friends would even begin to imagine the turmoil. I can't use this as the thumbnail because it has tentacles and YouTube really hates those. They aren't your friends. You took them from me. Do you really think any of them would side with you over me? Roxy would. You keep saying that you're doing all this for my own good, but you're just lonely. I know you are because so am I. If you are so utterly convinced of your virtue, then let me do this. You said that being a space player is all about sacrifice. Well. Oh no, that peanut butter cup is going in. I bet. No, bet. Oh gosh, so that's what the Twitter thing went with the Homestuck's, what Homestuck's Twitter said. Bet. Do we get to choose if she lives or dies? Can we? Let's see. No death. Boops. Okay, just tweeted that reply. Okay. Well then. That was exciting. First sound page, got to see this craziness get thrown down. I want to keep this kind of succinct near the end because I got a lot of editing to do before bed because I have opening shift tomorrow. So, what did you guys think? Thought it was kind of interesting. Got to see someone interacting with Calliope and being like, hey, you ain't peaches and cream yourself, sister. And she's like, am I the bad guy? So, oh gosh. I just want Calliope to be wrong about Dave Cat. I know lots of people love Dave Cat. I'm not. I never really saw the appeal. Anyway, that's enough from me. I've got to get this editing, and I can't wait to see whether or not they actually decide to off Jade, or off Calliope, or who knows who's getting offed with the peanut butter cup of death, because it's both peanut butter and chocolate, and Jade's half dog, so she might be half dead by chocolate? Anyway. But that's all I have for now. I might just tweet out that whole, like, would Jade go to the hospital or the vets? I think I'm gonna do that. I will see you guys all next time with the next Homestuck 2 update. See you guys then. Bye!
Hey there. Consider becoming a patron, just like the phenomenal Bleed Red, Alexander Madeline, Uranium Coffee, and Ryan Nelson.